Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome back to the Twisted Nightmare Studio. Today I'm going to be talking about a particular review from Wired on Hogwarts Legacy. Yes, I know I'm way late, and this has been out for a while, but this particular one is egregious because there is no magic in Hogwarts Legacy. Rating 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 for this game. That's what this person rated it. A 1. Now think about that. That has to mean that this game to them is garbage. So let's see what they have to say. The game is mid at best. Well, wait. If it's mid means middle. Middle, like, you know. And I also heard that, basically mid to some people is just the word you use when you have no other word. And its real-world harms are impossible to ignore. This. Okay. So, rating 1 out of 10. The pros. Apparently, it helps me say goodbye to the setting for good. The bad. The story is rooted in anti-Semitic tropes. The gameplay feels dated. The graphics feel like they're a couple generations behind. All the characters are one-dimensional. It doesn't stay true to the established lore, that I kind of agree with. Every character feels like an off-brand version of characters we know and love. Not quite, actually. There's no sense of place, no magic, no heart. This person must be fun at parties. Yikes, y'all. I don't even smoke, and I feel a need to get a cigarette before I get this thing started. We're here to talk about Hogwarts Legacy, and to do that, we need to discuss the whole mess. Pull up a chair, pour yourself some tea, wrap yourself in a blanket, scream into a pillow or the abyss, because this one's going to take a lot out of both of us. Or get heavy. Hogwarts Legacy is a third-person action RPG set in the same universe as the classic Harry Potter series of children's books. In case you needed a refresher, those books, the Wizarding World setting, and the Harry Potter franchise are all the intellectual property and brainchild of author J.K. Rowling. This is important because she's always been inseparable from her work, and from work that she inspired and licensed, for better and now mostly for worse. Nothing with the Wizarding World stamp on it can be viewed outside of the context of it being a product of Dame J.K. Rowling. CHOBE. See, okay, so I'm 2 paragraphs in and they haven't even talked about the game. Okay. Within the pages of her book, again, this is not about the game, she made the ordinary seem extraordinary. She created a place where weird, lonely kids would be told they were special, where kids who had survived abuse were more than just fundamentally broken. Since 2019, though, the once beloved children's author has, she's had some opinions about people like me and whether or not we should exist. She has gone as far as to suggest that we're inherently dangerous, a threat to real women. Well, here's the thing, okay, see, no, she doesn't like the idea of rapists raping a woman, then claiming to be a woman and getting put in a woman's prison. That is very logical, but no, it's all about, it's all about your feelings. Again, nothing about the game so far. We're 3 paragraphs in, nothing about the game. When I was a kid, every word that flowed from J.K. Rowling's pen wrote magic into my world. And now, every word she puts out just hurts my heart. Even homophobic and transphobic things queer kids are here growing up become a voice that follows them for a long time. We hear relatives, friends, and parents say awful things about us and to us. For a lot of us, we fight those voices every day. When one of those voices comes from the author who taught you about accepting yourself, a person you thought truly saw you and kids like you, it hurts in a way that honestly hope she never understands. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Again, where's the game review? This is supposed to be a game review, and we're 4 paragraphs in, and all it has been about is my poor feelings. I don't hate her. It would honestly be easier if I did. Somewhere inside me, there's a kid who still loves her despite everything. That kid had a lot of experiences loving people who hurt her. She never asked why. She just wants to know what she did wrong and how she can fix it. It's hard to tell her that there's nothing left to fix and that there are places we can't return to. Places like Hogwarts. Unforgivable curses. I remember when the first book came out, the gangly boy on the cover illustration. The book was the school book fair. At the time, it was just another chapter book on the shelves besides the likes of Bunnicula and Goosebumps. I'll be honest, it wasn't a never-ending story situation for me. I didn't open the cover and get transported to a world of magic and mystery. I liked it, but that was it. It was the third book, The Prisoner of Azkaban, that wrapped its world around me and drew me in. It was the first one that felt dangerous to me. Watching these characters I knew contend with adult-level peril, I felt seen. In Harry, I saw my own rough childhood reflected. I shared his frustrations with the adult world and that tight knot of anger he couldn't really understand boiling away in his chest. In Ron, I knew what it was to go to school in hand-me-downs, to worry about money in a way that no child should ever should. And I also knew that what it was like to be made fun of for being a redhead. In Hermione, I saw a relentless and often annoyingly assertive sense of right and wrong, and how it often got her and me in trouble. After Prisoner of Azkaban, I was in deep. Still not talking about the game. We're, almost halfway through already, and haven't even mentioned the game yet. Okay. I avoided press about Hogwarts Legacy when it was first announced. I didn't want to see the gameplay. I didn't want to be awed by the trailers. I avoided them like the plague because I was afraid I would be conflicted, that I'd see a game that captured the magic of the books and my heart would leap out of my chest. I was afraid to see the lavish visuals of the films recreated on modern gaming hardware, realized in 4K and full HDR. I was afraid I'd have to tell 12-year-old me that she couldn't play it and explain why. Here's the problem with that. You're an adult. You shouldn't have to be explaining anything to your childish self because you know what? They moved on. They're grown up now. Dear God, if you feel you have to explain something to your child self, then there's something wrong with you, not the world around you. So when I got the code for Hogwarts Legacy, I braced myself. Home isn't home. When home isn't home anymore. I thought I'd spend a lot of time in this section nitpicking, going over every grievance that I have about how this game deviates from the source material, how dated it looks and feels, and how every character just feels like an animatronic, Chuck E. Cheese robot, waiting for you to come by and put a quarter in so it can say its one line of dialogue and perform a grim, herky-jerky facsimile of a living being. But there are no nits to pick. It just lies all the way down. This is getting annoying. The longer I spent with this version of Hogwarts, the more I could feel a tangible absence. There's definitely something missing. I thought maybe it was lackluster art direction, or the one-dimensional characters that feel like store-brand versions of the ones we know and love, or even a conspicuous lack of the iconic John Williams score. Actually, no, Hedwig's theme appears multiple times. That's a lie. Legitimately, I've heard Hedwig's theme several times playing the game. But there is a bigger absence here. There's a hole where this game's heart should be. You can't see it at first. You have to really feel around its edges. Stop looking for what is there and start noticing what isn't. There is no sense of place. The world is lifeless. Character models and face animations are present, but somehow absent. I'll agree with that a little bit. The facial animations are a little herky-jerky and sometimes just look a little off. The characters are animated, but they certainly don't feel alive. The story, besides being rooted in anti-Semitism, a global cabal is trying to end slavery, but it's bad because slaves like being slaves. That's not even remotely true about the game. Did this person actually play the game? Because it really doesn't feel like it. Doesn't even feel compelling. It feels muddy, and a minefield of unanswered questions, unexplained motivations, and speaking of which, the characters are often flat out state their motivations, but they don't feel believable or particularly coherent. It says it's Hogwarts, but it doesn't feel like Hogwarts. Even despite the controversy around Rowling herself, the game feels like it was put together to tap the eager nostalgia of fans without any attention to actually making it worth playing. Okay, so for this reason alone, I cannot good in conscience recommend you spend your money on it. Combined with who this game helps and who it harms, well, it's definitely not worth it unless your goal is to cause harm. Yeah, see, because you can't buy a game these days without causing somebody harm. See, that's the thing I hate. This whole thing that they say is, it contributes to genocide. No, it doesn't contribute to genocide. Genocide is people actually going out and killing each other. A person who can't accept themselves for who they are and feel suicidal, that's not a genocide. Genocide is murder. Suicide does not mean genocide. It is a familiar problem, though. It's one we've seen in the latest Wizarding World films as well. The new movies are bad. So now we're talking about the movies again. So that's all she had to say about the game. She literally, didn't say much about the game other than, what she said in the beginning, and then now it's back to the movies. But not bad morally, just bad qualitatively. They're not fun to watch, they're spectacle, but it all feels flat and kind of confusing. If you look closely, you can see the steady decline in quality as the new movies go on. I never watched the new movies because, quite frankly, they weren't based off of any real plot. With IP owners trying to wring any remaining semblance of life from a franchise all but poisoned by its owner, despite attempts to right the ship. Some reviewers chalk it up to Rowling having more direct control and fewer people to tell her no or give her edits. The George Lucas problem, but Hogwarts Legacy makes me think that this isn't the case at all. Standing together, there's a direct correlation between how open Rowling becomes in her bigotry and how flat and heartless the wizarding media becomes. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that it's because LGBTQIA plus the ampersand pound sign and ZZ top people and genuine allies are some of the best creative minds in the world. No, they don't know how to create, a lot of them. They tend to know how to destroy. That's about it. And these films were made largely without them. The gaming industry is far queerer than most people realize. All the things you know and love about your favorite games were made by queer people. I don't just mean directors and executive producers. I mean the concept artists who bring your favorite games to life. The sound designers, the engineers, the technical artists, the composers, the musicians, the writers, the testers, the producers. The hands that make the best games in the world are queer. We are the life, the heartbeat, and the magic of the great games. I want to see evidence on that, but that doesn't really matter. What the hell does this have to do with Hogwarts Legacy? You've literally spent only 2 paragraphs out of this entire thing talking about Hogwarts Legacy. We're at the end, basically. I have 2 more paragraphs to go. And let's see. Nope, doesn't really say anything about the game, really. It's yawning emptiness of the Hogwarts Legacy. I see solidarity of queer people and our allies in the game development. The people who just said no when the job offers came their way. The ones who didn't answer emails from Port Games. The ones who politely let their coworkers know that working on a Harry Potter game would be harmful to the trans community. The ones who listened and said, okay, yeah, thanks for letting me know. The people who put their morals and their loved ones above an easy paycheck. I'll probably never know your names, but you know who you are. I see you, and I appreciate you more than words can ever express. Thank you for making it easy for me to close the book on Hogwarts and Harry Potter. The magic is gone, won't ever return, because without us, the wizarding world is as heartless as its creator. Of course that's what you look like. That does not surprise me in the slightest. That don't surprise me in the slightest. Fact of the matter is, this review was not a review. It had 2 paragraphs that actually talked about the game and spouted bullshit about it, and then the rest of it was talking about how this person grew up and their life was terrible, and how this is how J.K. Rowling is terrible and blah blah blah. That's all this is about. This is absolute hogwash. This is literally somebody putting their feelings above facts and literally going, oh, this game is harmful. It's not harmful. Sorry. I bought this game. I'm enjoying this game. It isn't harmful. As a matter of fact, if you actually played it, you didn't even mention that there was a trans character in it. Why? Why wouldn't you mention that? I mean, after all, it's a huge leap forward. One of the first trans people to ever exist in gaming. And it's very open and very obvious. Why didn't you mention that? Doesn't it get an extra point for you for that? No, of course not. No. This isn't a review. This is a hack job by an activist, not a game journalist. But that's most of what game journalists is these days, is activists who can't get a job in real news, so they just decide to go into gaming and, ruin every game that they possibly can. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Thank you for visiting the Twisted Nightmare Studio. I'll see you next time.